If you told us all these things when you applied for a visa, we would deny your visa.
Right.
I hope we would. If you actually end up doing that, once you're in this country on such a visa, we will revoke it.
And Schumer is a Palestinian as far as I'm concerned. You know, he's become a Palestinian. He used to be Jewish. He's not Jewish anymore. He's a Palestinian.
President Trump now starting the process at the very least, an individual by the name of Khalil. And people are unhappy about this. You can see Tom Homan was at the Capitol, and this guy, supposed candidate called Zoran Mamdani, who wants to be the mayor of New York City, was very unhappy with Tom Homan for rounding this dude up, who apparently is a permanent resident, but who is still in the process of having his green card revoked and being afuera'd right out of the country. So they were in the Southern District of New York. Homan joins Republicans in Albany, so it wasn't at the Capitol, it was in New York. And here's how it sounded when Tom Homan arrived. Okay, that is physical touching in an offensive manner to law enforcement. Feels very insurrectionary to me. If that was a J6er, they would have been charged with crimes for that, just to be clear. J6ers got charged for crimes less than that. They got charged with aggravated assault and different types of crimes for water bottles flying around, popping people in the head. And it was ridiculous. Here's the point. That guy was there screaming at Tom Homan. Here's another angle on this. As you can see, Tom Homan is taking it in stride. He's just munching an apple, man. When you're dealing with rabid protesters, you have to keep your energy up. An apple a day keeps liberal protesters away. So it's good for your immune system. So they're all in there. It's not at the Capitol. It's in New York. They're all just freaking out. That guy getting very insurrectionary too. First Amendment, all the things. So it goes on for a couple minutes, another minute or so, until Tom Homan makes his way into the room. There's the other angle. I hope you get stuck in that elevator. Whoa. Okay, I guess our little show's over. Guess we screamed at Tom, so now everything is over. Now, here's what is happening. So legally, there is something going on. Margot Cleveland, she posted this. Here is what they published from our friend Margot, just a couple pages of what is happening. So we have some context for this. So what is going on in the Southern District of New York is this guy, MK something Khalil is his last name. And a lot of this is privatized because he's a private citizen and he has been detained by the government. So what they're filing, his attorneys, they're basically suing Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, Trump, everybody, with a petition for a writ of habeas corpus, saying this guy's being unlawfully detained. You have to let him go. Show me the body, right? Where is he? You can't hold him without charges, without lawful reason. So they write, all right, listen, this Khalil guy is a lawful permanent resident and he's a student over at Columbia. He's married to a U.S. citizen. She's pregnant with their first child, going to give birth next month. On March 8th, just days ago, agents from Homeland arrested him with no prior notice. When agents arrested MK at his student housing, the agents stated, well, we're detaining him. His student visa had been revoked by the U.S. State Department. Sorry. When MK showed the officers his immigration documents saying, no, I'm a lawful permanent resident. I'm not on a visa. I've got a green card. I'm not a student or visa holder. They arrested him anyways. They said, well, that's fine. Guess what? Your green card's revoked. They provided no basis for the revocation. Just said, it's gone. Now, the question is, can they do that, right? Can they unilaterally do that? Is he afforded some due process? Does he have the right to a hearing before they revoke it or what? We're going to get into that, obviously. Now, ICE's arrest and detention of Khalil follow the U.S. government's open repression of student activism and political speech, specifically targeting students at Columbia for criticism of Israel. Now, the U.S. government has made clear they will use the immigration enforcement as a tool to suppress that speech. And we always are asking this question, right? It's a very complicated area of law, which is why we have immigration lawyers and constitutional lawyers and criminal lawyers all battling over these issues. But what rights do non-citizens have to certain protections and due process? And there's, in broad strokes, this relationship where the less of a citizen you are, the less rights you have. So if you're an illegal alien crossing the border, well, you can get picked up and deported in an expeditious manner relatively quickly. But if you're on a visa, maybe you get a little bit more rights and a little bit more process before that visa is revoked. If you're a permanent resident with a green card, maybe it's even higher standard. And then by the time you're a citizen, well, obviously they can't deport you out of the country. So it's this relationship. We're asking ourselves, well, where does it fall here? And who makes these decisions? MK has been an outspoken activist regarding these issues. So in other words, does this guy have free speech the same way that a citizen does, such that the U.S. government cannot use speech, okay, in addition to all of the other activities? They're talking talking about speech. So if we give them the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, let's say speech is a problem, they're actually violating his speech. The question is, can we do that and use that as a basis to afuera someone? So he's been an outspoken activist. And what is happening is the Trump people are engaging in blatant efforts to target and chill the speech, to discriminate against particular viewpoints without providing a reason, and perhaps based on the misunderstanding that he's a student visa holder rather than a lawful permanent resident. And so they violate his rights under the Constitution, the Administrative Procedures Act, and more. And so this court should declare ICE's actions are unlawful, stop his transfer outside of the district, and order his immediate release. Now, this is a big part of this conversation because right now they filed this petition in the Southern District of New York. We know that is a horrible jurisdiction. They'll do anything that anybody on the opposite side of the V against Trump wants. They also write here, respondent is acting director of ICE, responsible for this. Now, Kristi Noem also responsible, and Pam Bondi also being sued. The court can hear these cases pursuant to U.S. Code and more. And they say he is Palestinian. He grew up in Syria because his grandparents were forcibly removed from Tiberias, Palestine. Since the war in Syria, his family has again been displaced, now dispersed through Europe and West Asia. He entered the United States on a student visa, December 2022, in order to pursue a master's degree at Columbia. He completed his program in 2024, December, and has an anticipated graduation date of 25. Married to a U.S. citizen, lawful permanent resident 24. MZ and their wife, yes, it's MK and his wife, are expecting their first child together next month. So, he was compelled to come out and start speaking and blah, blah, blah. And of course, he got picked up. Now, it continues saying he got arrested on the evening of March 8th. In addition, he was calling for the world to stop, contravening international law and that whole foreign conflict. Now, on the evening of March 8th, MK and his wife were returning to their apartment. They arrived at their apartment. His wife were approached by 4 people who were dressed in plain clothes. All of them entered the lobby of the building. When they approached him and his wife, they said, "Are you Khalil?" He said, "Yeah." They said, "Oh, great. We're with Homeland Security. You're going into custody today." They said, "You can go up to your apartment, ma'am, and that if you don't leave MK, you're going to get arrested too. So you can come with us or you can go home, whatever you want to do." So then they went and got his immigration documents to show that MK is a lawful permanent resident. She handed the documents to the agent who was talking with someone on the phone. The agent looked confused, called on the phone. He has a green card. MK's wife heard the agent repeat that they were being ordered to bring him in anyways. While the wife went to the apartment, MK was able to place a call to his attorney, Amy Greer. Attorney Greer said, "You guys have a warrant?" They said, "Yeah, we do." They heard a voice tell MK to hand them the phone. Okay, so they got a warrant for the dude. So they went through a judge for something. Attorney Greer identified herself as MK's attorney, who asked who she was speaking with. The agent identified himself as Elvin Hernandez, Homeland Security. The attorney asked Agent Hernandez, "Do you have a warrant?" He said, "Yeah, I do," stating that MK's student visa had been revoked. Greer said, "Well, he's a green card holder and he's got the right to due process." Agent Hernandez said, "Oh no, the Department of State had revoked his green card too, and that he would be brought in front of an immigration judge to deal with that." The agent stated that he would be taken to 22 Federal Plaza. So green card is gone and your visa, which didn't exist, but that's gone too. The agent then handcuffed MK, brought him outside to where there were multiple vehicles waiting. The wife asked for the names of the agents to follow up on the husband's detention. Only advised, "We're not talking to you. This is where we're taking him. No business cards or any information at all." So they say, right, all the claims come out, violating his constitutional rights. He's got a right to free speech. He's got a right to due process and more. And so they should release him immediately. Now, after that was filed, the judge ordered a hearing and Trump's DOJ responded accordingly. They said, "Hey, actually, Judge, we write on behalf of the parties in response to your order that is telling us to address some of your questions. And here is what we're addressing. We take the position that the court should resolve this motion to transfer or to dismiss before addressing anything else. Here's why. We disagree about the nature of this case, and we think that the matter of venue and jurisdiction should be resolved first. In other words, the court can't even hear this habeas claim. So we're going to file a motion maybe to transfer. We intend to file and more." Okay, so Trump's people responded to it. Now let's go to the court proceeding and see what happened inside. Inner city press reporting. This is inside the hearing of Khalil, who is now about to be afuera'd. And the question is, where is he located? Court calls the case. All rise. Please be seated. Bunch of people in the courtroom. Inner city press, Matthew Russell Lee reporting tells us there are many petitioners' lawyers. So Khalil has a bunch of lawyers all ready to fight for this dude, of course. For the respondents, Trump, we got Brandon Waterman and Jeff Osterreicher of the Southern District of New York. Everybody's screaming in there, "Free Palestine!" Judge says, "Will you shut up? Decorum is required in this courtroom, okay? There is to be no outbursts from you lunatics. If you have a phone and it goes off, I will take it and you may not get it back." Judge says, "Until now, access to the docket has been limited to the courthouse. The petitioner's identity is widely known. Should I make the docket available so everybody can read this stuff?" Yeah, no objection. You guys, government, no objection. Judge says, "Okay, fine, I'll take care of that." So the docket will be published. Good. Judge says, "All right, listen, government, I'd like a preview of your arguments. All right, in this circuit, jurisdiction is based on the time time of the habeas filing. So they filed this saying you have him unlawfully detained. I know he's not here right now. He's not in New York right now, but it's where he was when it was filed. So this was filed at 4:40 a.m. on Sunday. So Mr. Waterman, where was Khalil at the time this was filed? Your Honor, he wasn't even here. He wasn't even in New York. He was in New Jersey by then. So jurisdiction never vested here. He was never here. They filed here. They want the right forum, right? They want the forum of Southern District of New York. Like, well, he was there for like 5 minutes, so we're going to file there because they know that court is rigged in their favor. Now, Trump, by contrast, wants to hightail out of there and get this guy to Louisiana into a much better jurisdiction where they'll rule accordingly in his favor. So everybody's racing to move this guy and file stuff. So he was in New Jersey. He was not present here at the time of the filing. Sorry, Judge, you guys screwed up. Judge Furman says, okay, but you agree to the law as I've stated it, right? So like if he was here and they filed it while he was here, I would have jurisdiction, right? Where is he now? He's in Jenna, Louisiana. All right. Well, okay. So would you be seeking to move this petition to New Jersey or to Louisiana then? So if they can't be here, you're going to say go here or go there, right? Well, we're considering it, says the DOJ. It may not be in New Jersey since the petition was not timely filed there either. But either way, Judge, like we don't know what we're going to do. We don't have to really tell you what we're going to do. But the Southern District of New York, where this is being filed right now, is not the proper forum. You can't hear this case. He can't file it here. He's not here, never was here. There's no right to be here. Judge says, all right, well, listen, I'm going to need more updates and more briefs from you people. So your papers, when you submit them to me, should address Justice Kennedy's concurrence in another case called Rumsfeld, because there are concerns about moving petitioners to evade jurisdiction. Seems like you guys might be trying to hide the ball on this one and get this guy out of here so that I can't have any say over it. And they write, well, Khalil's lawyers say courts have also looked, Your Honor, to identify the field office that was responsible for that movement decision. So like, did the Southern District of New York say move him? Maybe that gives you jurisdiction over the case since it originated out of here. The judge says, well, I have rejected that argument in the past. Base it on that. You are not writing on a fresh slate here. So no, like that doesn't work. That doesn't give me jurisdiction. I've already said that before, so I can't reverse myself on that one. So sorry. Khalil's lawyers say, but Your Honor, this case is extraordinary though, and it sets it apart from a garden variety of cases. This is, important. Judge says, relax, one step at a time, okay? Now, the judge tells us, I have ordered that he not be removed from the country, but this was not a ruling on the merits, okay? This is just to preserve the status quo, to rule on the issues raised. Now, I propose that you brief the request to return the petitioner to the district at the same time. So send him back here is what the judge is saying. So I'm saying he can't go out, but I'm not ordering him released, and you can file papers to bring him back to New York, and they say, we'll do that. We will file an amended habeas petition. All right, that's granted. You can file a new one, file your second draft. It'll be better. All right, government, anything else? Well, there are threshold issues to address here first, Your Honor. I mean, that's fine, but they can amend whenever they want to. It's fine, but their amendment is not going to get over the threshold issue of whether you have jurisdiction, so whatever. Well, you two should confer. There's a need for speed here, and so we need to get this thing moving quickly. Government from Trump says, well, okay, we'll propose a schedule, no problem. All right, well, how about an amended petition by 9 p.m. tonight instead of midnight from the Khalil lawyers? Can you guys get that to me back here by tonight, 9 p.m.? Sure. Anything else? Yeah, Your Honor, we also want to raise client access issues. We wanted to go talk to him, but he's been moved 1,000 miles away from us. And we contend that he was targeted for his advocacy for Palestinian rights. And we lack access to him. We can't go find him. So we sought to obtain a privileged call. It was already scheduled for the 20th. His wife is 8 months pregnant. It's hard for us to continue our work without talking to him. So can the court help us gain more regular access to this guy? Well, I thought you spoke with him. Didn't you already speak with him? Well, Your Honor, it was a non-privileged phone call and they cut us off early. Government, anything from you? I mean, I'd be inclined to get them privileged access to their client. Well, Your Honor, he has been served with a notice to appear for removal proceedings in Louisiana down there. So Louisiana is claiming jurisdiction over him. He's got court down there. So I'm happy to reach out to them down there, but that's where he is. All right, well, the concern here is timing, okay? I would be inclined that he has provided a privilege call today and one tomorrow. All right, prosecutor says, yes, Your Honor, we'll work on it. We'll see what we can do. All right, case is adjourned and you're now released. So that's what happened today in court. Now, what's also interesting is I came across this story that apparently these protests are now hitting Amy Coney Barrett's family, which is curious. The sister of a U.S. Supreme Court justice was targeted by a bomb threat on Monday morning. The Charleston police told us about this. 9:30 a.m., officers responded after Amanda Coney Williams, the sister of Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett, received a bomb threat via email. Someone said this, using a 1x8-inch threaded galvanized pipes, end caps, and kitchen timers, some wires, metal clips, and a homemade black powder. Somebody wrote this, sounds kind of like the J6 pipe bomber or something, with a cooking timer, a kitchen timer. I've constructed a bomb, says this person, which I recently placed in Amy Coney Barrett's sister's mailbox at her home in Charleston, South Carolina. The device's detonation will be triggered as soon as the mailbox is next open. Free Palestine! Exclamation point. Okay. So no one knew who would be targeting their home, but that an an unknown person had attempted to deliver pizza to some households related to Barrett over the weekend. Wow. Then it was a false alarm. Somebody went and opened the mailbox up and no arrests have been made yet. So things are getting spicy there. Now, Rubio says, look, you're not entitled to be here. Like, we're not importing people who are going to come into this country and cause a ruckus, cause protests, and try to bring their foreign problems to America, and then suddenly claim free speech and all of this stuff, okay? We have plenty of people here with plenty of free speech who have plenty of problems with each other. We don't need to import other people to exacerbate the problems in our country. Now, here is what Marco Rubio had to say in response to that.
When you come to the United States as a visitor, which is what a visa is, which is how this individual entered this country, as on a visitor's visa, you are here as a visitor. We can deny you that visa. We can deny you that if you tell us when you apply, hi, I'm trying to get into the United States on a student visa. I am a big supporter of Hamas, a murderous, barbaric group that kidnaps children, that rapes teenage girls, that takes hostages, that allows them to die in captivity, that returns more bodies than live hostages. If you tell us that you are in favor of a group like this, and if you tell us when you apply for your visa, and by the way, I intend to come to your country as a student and rile up all kinds of anti-Jewish student, anti-Semitic activities, I intend to shut down your universities. If you told us all these things when you applied for a visa, we would deny your visa.
Right.
I hope we would. If you actually end up doing that, once you're in this country on such a visa, we will revoke it. And if you end up having a green card, not citizenship, but a green card as a result of that visa while you're here in those activities, we're going to kick you out.
Yeah, bye. Don't need to import problems into our country. That's a sane way to govern your borders and your immigration system. And again, I am issue agnostic. I don't really care what it is. If they are citizens, right, that's a different standard, but that's the process of immigration. Make sure that you are somebody we want here to be a citizen, not somebody who's going to come in and import your problems into America. We got plenty of that going on. And by the way, you know who else is in big trouble right now? Chuck Schumer. Guess what? He's not even Jewish anymore. It's official. Just like the Gulf of America. Sorry, Chuck.
And Schumer is a Palestinian as far as I'm concerned. You know, he's become a Palestinian. He used to be Jewish. He's not Jewish anymore. He's a Palestinian.
Yep. All right, so now we know it's official. Chuck Schumer is a Palestinian. He's no longer Jewish now, and it is official. Mark it down on the maps.